Hi, welcome back to the bench, and today we have a POLY61 which strangely has a stars align because I have a solder sucker and I have a lot of replacement buttons for the POLY61. So I want to replace all these buttons, and also whilst we're here, the keyboard has a few sticky keys, so we're going to see if we have a look at that as well. So there's 4 screws in here, so I'll just switch off the audio output, and this whole thing is then hinged. You can see the whole front panel hinges on a pivot down there, which is really handy. Okay, so I've already taken the screws out of this panel. Just remove this nut on the arpeggiator speed control. And so if we have a look at the knob, you can see there's a little square bit in there where the top of the knob fits in. It kind of clips. That's the only place it's held in by, actually. Okay, so we'll start with these first 4 here. They only have 4 contacts. Okay, I've just had a quick rethink, and I'm just going to hold this in with a couple of screws. Then that can just hold it for me whilst I take the solder off, hopefully. Yeah, leave these in place, and then it's going to be much easier just to try and take the solder off, I think. Well, this is all coming off remarkably easy, actually. It's a single-sided board, so I wasn't expecting too much trouble. But as it is old solder, I wasn't sure how easy it was gonna. So with these desolder tools, it's a really good idea to let the everything heat up to temperature. Even when it says it's reached the temperature at the sensor, you still need the heat to travel to the end of the nozzle here, so it doesn't get clogged up at the end. Now there we can see, make sure it's not stuck, I've lifted a pad off of there, but that trace isn't going anywhere, so that pad was just a little island on its own. So occasionally that's going to happen. Just goes to show you how delicate it is. Like on that joint there, it's relying on the largest surface area of the trace to keep it stuck down to the board. Okay, so that's all then done. I guess before I take it all apart and take the buttons out to replace them, I'm just going to see how successful we've been. Yep. These all feel like they're just going to pop out. Very good. So because all these boards are joined together, we're going to have to take them both off at the same time and be careful. As you can see, I've already installed the MIDI upgrade onto this POLY61, but as it's a poly analog, I really like to play it live on the keyboard and just record it as audio. Okay, so now we're going to have to take off this panel. Keep an eye out, make sure there's no longer screws or shorter screws. Could ruin your day later. Now that's going to be a tricky one. So this one has a machine thread. Fortunately, I need to get to that screw, and I don't think I'm going to cheat my way around that. I'm going to have to take this off. It's a bit annoying. So there's three screws that hold in this bracket. Now I've got to be careful I don't squash anything. Well, I'm sure I'm not the first person to have grumbled at this screw. Oh. Okay. Oh, look, now they come off with the caps. Okay, well, I would say that's a success with that desoldering tool. That couldn't actually have been easier. So I'm going to have to clean all these caps. So what I'm hoping is that these switches clip into place and don't move much, because then I can solder them, just plonk them in and screw the boards up, solder them in place that way. Okay, that's all the new buttons in. And actually, they're all in there very firm, so I'm going to screw these back up. So I'm just making sure I'm not using any pressure really when I make this solder joint. I don't want to move the switch. Okay, now it's time to put the caps on. Now unfortunately these ones don't clip in, which means we're going to have to try and place them and try and sandwich everything together without the knobs falling out. I hope they sit squarely. A couple of the buttons have a cutout way for the LED though. Right, let's see what we can do. Okay. And somehow I need to get the screws in whilst holding this down. Okay, that went well. I'm going to stick some more screws in. I won't stick them all in, just make sure everything's kind of working. Okay, so let's move on to this one. I've also got the pot head with the nut there. Okay, just put a couple of screws in. That'll do for now. Okay, so I'm going to put this screw in because if everything works okay, then I can just put in the remaining screws. Don't really want this flapping around in the breeze. So I'm going to put the screws in there as well. Okay, so that's the socket panel screwed back in. We're just going to make sure everything is okay. Okay, well, let's just show you one thing that has happened. Is the AC has come off the switch there, so just put that back on. Okay, let's switch it back on. Oh, that's so much better. Okay, so we have a really long printed circuit board here. Got to be very careful when you take that out because that could flex and snap if you're not careful. So I have to undo all the screws along there. So what we have here is some membranes. We have these little plastic clips which hold the circuit board in. Let's see what happens if we try and so we're going to try and clean these up. Just going to use some isopropyl alcohol. It's not like loads of crud coming off or anything. So I'm going to give it a quick run over with an alcohol wipe. Just make sure that whole area is totally clean. And then with these bits, just going to wipe every single contact. And I'll come back after I've done all the rest. Okay, so I've cleaned all those up. It was quite disappointing and didn't really look like there was like big lumps of dirt or anything. The cotton buds aren't particularly dirty. Now, will these go? How well do these go back in? Oh, okay, not too bad. So yeah, there are holes to line up. Okay, eventually they do kind of click in. Okay, I'll just do the others in. Okay, I've got them all back in now. This very first one here is 7, the rest is 6. Apart from that, we'll give it a go. Not really holding up too much though, because it really didn't look that bad. But so let's try and get this circuit board back in. Okay, well, we'll see what we do. So maybe those membranes might need changing. We'll see. Okay, let's see if that's done anything. That's not bad. Is this one key? No. So, very worthwhile. That worked a treat.